Tap, tap, snap, squeeze, squeeze that dodgeball. If you're like me and you leave drawing hands till last and then end up using reference, this video is for you. The underlying shapes themselves are not that complex. Let's call these the palm shape, the thumb circle, and the fingers fit in that mitten shape. The pinky finger also has a smaller circle, like the thumb. A fist is pretty simple too. And I've learned to make that top finger a little different than the rest. Not just a square divided in 4. But where I struggle is finding the connection between the knuckles and those web thingies between our fingers. So let's check out the world's greatest illustrators and figure it out. So the topics for today are fan, squeeze, complex, simple, glass, hip. Fan. By this I mean that fingers don't stack up neatly like a row of Tetris bars, but they kind of fan out. Perfect Jason Pearson example here. And Joe Madureira has very cool hands. They're kind of exaggerated, so that top index finger is always a bit out, which adds a nice 3D quality. Same thing here in this Frank Cho fist, where the colors help a lot as well. Dark on one side, light on the other. Now, here I get my first knuckle lesson. In the underlying structure, I used to make them balls, but I see now it's more like teeth. Teeth with the tip filed off, like Hellboy's horns. Next up, the squeeze, or grab or hold. These two here are the same as the fist from before, just add some lines and done. But this cloth pull here has a bit more energy, thanks to that break in the wrist. This Marc Silvestri has the break in the wrist as well, but it feels more relaxed because it's resting on the curve of the body. So the curve in the wrist goes with the angle of the body. Nice tip. Also note the much thinner palm shape on female hands. Instant graceful hand with that elongation. Now the difference between holding hard and soft things is here. The line the hand makes when it touches the thing. Straight line in this phone, or round here in this bud root. Yeah, our hands are bones with soft meat around it. So if you push down on something, two things happen. The meat in our hand reacts, and the thing itself does or doesn't react. Here pushing down on some marble flooring, where only the hand meat gets flattened into a straight line, marble doesn't change. But on this soft pillow, the pillow arches up and covers the hand a little, so we don't even see where the meat of the hand is getting squished. Here a close-up of a finger ringing a doorbell. The finger bends back and flattens because of the push. Okay, let's play ball! A basketball and a dodgeball. Squeezing something soft like a dodgeball makes it rise up through the fingers, covering the bottom of the fingers, but not the top. Those aren't hidden. And that's what I feel is missing a little from this Obelix here. There are reaction lines, but the cloth is not covering the hand. In this here also no cover, but the reaction lines really sell the sense of squeezing that arm. The basketball is kind of like the doorbell or the marble, no change in the shape. In this Joe Mad, the bottom finger almost looks like a squeeze cover line, but I think it's just the shape of the finger. So let's redraw it with a softer arm, as if Rogue hadn't done CrossFit every day. But yeah, his looks better though. Next, complex hand actions like shaking hands or crossing fingers. Tricky stuff. Shaking hands almost always gets done wrong. Here, 3 out of 4 are wrong. Only Bill Sienkiewicz gets it right. Look what's happening here. It's a fist shake, because we need fingers at least a 90-degree angle from each other. Just imagine 2 hooks going into each other like this. Another classic, the philosopher walk. Silvestri with a good one. But Rene Uilenbroek here with a really nice version. Even though it's cartoony, looks super real. Let's see if we can add some squeeze overlap. This thumb patch could overlap a bit. Skipping this one. Let's move on to simplified versions. Bill Sienkiewicz in the New Mutants was a master at it. And I don't know how to call this style, but it's kind of like abstract realism. Really cool and free. Makes me wonder how tight his pencils are. But in the inking he keeps it super quick and loose. There's not even 4 lines in this hand. This one too. Takes guts to ink like this. Okay, this here is a job interview drawing I made for being a Negan animator assistant. They offered it to me, but I had to turn it down because the wage was incredibly low. Yeah, when I sent it off, I felt like I didn't nail the hand. It's not really relaxing. And it's a super common pose in comics, the dangling, relaxing hand. Some great minimal versions by Rick Leonardi in Spider-Man 2099. And Bill Watterson makes it look easy. This Silvestri and Sienkiewicz both have the fan idea in there as well. And I love this Uilenbroek cartoon version. Just that huge index and pinky finger difference. Another classic, the glass. I'm pretty sure illustrators look at their own hand holding a glass for this, because they all look good. Pinky supporting the glass in these 3. So let's start there. And I was also looking at my own hand while drawing this. Okay, finally a good chance to study some knuckles here from Rick Leonardi. Seen from the bottom, the knuckles are V-shapes that lead into the center of the finger. Okay, looks good. But let's do some more knuckle study with the hand in hip, of which there are 3 versions in comics. The fist, the back of the palm, or the grab. And these are all by Jim Lee, the acclaimed anatomy master. First thing I noticed is all his fingers just have 1 hinge. So it looks like they're only made of 2 parts instead of 3. And he drops the knuckle shadow on this top ridge. Let's do this rogue front view. Very clear, the sawed-off Hellboy horns. And even though the underlying structure didn't look cool, the loose inking with the openings makes it work. Speaking of loose inking, none better than Dan Green over Silvestri pencils. Look how the lines are thicker on the bottom to hint at the shadow. Mic drop or brush drop. That was supposed to be all, but I didn't get enough knuckle practice. Seems like all the other artists also don't really like to draw on knuckles. Noah here recommended Michael Golden's Nam, and I found out he has some good knuckle shadows there. So there's a tendon running over our knuckles to the tips of our fingers, and that creates some shapes to drop shadows next to. And look at this female hand. It actually does have the kind of simplified Jim Lee 1 hinge fingers. And if I point the tips a bit more, it's a perfect Jim Lee hand. Maybe without that smiley face on it though. Okay, wrapping up this hand practice. If you're up for more hands, I have a video where I looked at every first issue of all the Image guys and compared how they draw hands. Admit it, you've always wanted to draw some Rob Liefeld hands. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video and catch you next time.